The media continues to catch on and take shots at Star Wars. Movieweb released an article today that says Star Wars is the newest watered-down franchise. That's another way of saying it sucks. And of course, when I say Star Wars sucks, I'm obviously talking about Disney Star Wars. Let's throw that little caveat in there. So let's take a look at the article, see what they say. I want to get your comments here too. If you haven't noticed, the media continues this onslaught on Star Wars, and it's about time.
Echo 3 to Echo 7. Mono, buddy. 3
Echo Station 3PA.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Coach here on this one. We're covering this article from Movieweb that basically says Star Wars is not very good right now. It is a watered-down franchise, and they are killing it from within. You can see here why Star Wars is the latest in a long line of watered-down franchises. Over the years, we have seen many big franchises become watered down. Now Star Wars is the latest to join that long list. Well, I'm going to go a step further and say, I don't know if it's watered down. They're just giving us really poor, piss poor content. The Disney Plus shows are a bit like a double-edged sword. Being introduced to new characters and stories in The Mandalorian and Andor has been great. And it was thrilling to see fan favorites return in Obi-Wan Kenobi. Not really. But if you look a bit deeper, you can see the issues these shows cause for Star Wars. The MCU becoming as big as it did certainly influenced this expansion of Star Wars. We saw the MCU develop into a massive cinematic universe that explored different worlds and characters. And it was very successful. In a way, the MCU paved the way for Star Wars. But in recent times, we have seen the MCU falter. The hype has died down a bit, and it isn't certain if the MCU will ever get that hype back. This decrease in popularity coincided with the increase in MCU content. There seemed to be a shift within the MCU in recent times with the decision to go for quantity over quality. They released several new shows on Disney Plus for the first time and were very hit and miss. This resulted in an underwhelming Phase 4, leaving fans feeling disinterested in the franchise's direction. Star Wars is running the risk of following in the same footsteps. We're already there, folks. We are already there. At the moment, The Mandalorian is number one when it comes to Star Wars. That's debatable. A lot of people say Andor is number one in Star Wars. The first two seasons were brilliant and fresh of The Mandalorian. It gave us a brand new story that added to the already interesting world of Star Wars. But The Mandalorian lost its way in Season 3. You could say that again. It felt a bit less coherent than the previous season. While it still had some high points, there were unfortunately too many average moments. Well, what about low points? After the fantastic Season 2 finale, where we see Luke Skywalker return, it would always be tough to follow it up. But it felt like the story became a bit messy. With Grogu going to train with Luke, Din Djarin's mission was a success, and Moff Gideon was captured. The story seemed to be wrapped up in a conclusive way. But in the Book of Boba Fett, Grogu returns to Din. And then, in The Mandalorian Season 3, we see Moff Gideon return. While these things were essential to keep the story going, they devalued what had happened previously. It felt a bit rushed and not properly thought out. All for the sake of more content. Well, it definitely did feel more rushed, and it does devalue the things that came before. I saw it in so many comments that you guys left here on many of our videos, where it's like Luke showed up and saved everybody for no reason. For no reason. What are they doing? We have seen this trend happen a few times in Disney Plus shows. For example, Boba Fett's return. After supposedly being dead, we see Boba Fett appear in The Mandalorian. Then, on his standalone show, The Book of Boba Fett, which was a disappointment, we see a totally different Boba Fett from the ones fans imagined. Some even think Disney ruined Star Wars' coolest character. Nah. During the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, we see Reva survive a fatal wound from Vader. Like Boba Fett, like Moff Gideon, Reva is spared death so that a story can go on. Whether characters are not dying or old characters are returning, this is a big issue for Star Wars. It is making character arcs confusing and less impactful, but worse, it gives off the impression that there is a focus on quantity instead of quality. Reva! The original trilogy gave fans a special feeling, and it still does. Nothing since then has been able to replicate it. The prequels have become more popular over the years despite the initial backlash, but for the vast majority, they don't come close to the original trilogy. The sequels were a massive letdown, and have played a big part in Star Wars losing that mystique that it once had. They were messy, poorly written, and lacked the soul that made the previous films lovable. Well, I got to say, Movieweb absolutely knocked it out of the park with this article, and there's a lot more to the article. I'm going to put it in the description, a link to this article so you can go and read it in its entirety. I love how the media is finally catching on and they are attacking Star Wars. Now, could they have gone a step further? Yes. You're not giving us watered down content, Disney Star Wars. You're giving us bad content. That's what you're doing. So we demand Star Wars to return to greatness, because bad Star Wars and Star Wars shouldn't mix. I just want to be happy with where Star Wars is and watch Star Wars that I love and can get behind and support. And I'm growing weary and tired of hating on everything, but hey, this is a Star Wars channel, and I got to be authentic, so what you going to do? Thank you guys so much for coming here to Echo Base Network today. I really appreciate it. Hit that subscribe button. Join us here on the channel. We're live on Thursday and Saturday nights. We get content out as often as we can. We got the best community on YouTube, bar none. As we always say here, we are, you are Echo Base Network. May the Force be with you, and I'll see you guys on the next one.